Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Top stories of the news. Gunman attacks vehicle belonging to Labour Party Enugu East senatorial candidate Barrister Oyibo Chukwu, killing at least 5 persons. Police orders restriction of vehicular movement across the country ahead of the 2023 general elections. On the foreign scene, gunman kills TV reporter and a 9-year-old girl near a murder scene in Orlando, Florida. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiola. At least 5 persons have been feared dead as gunmen attacked the Sienna bus belonging to the Labour Party candidate for Enugu East Senatorial District, Barrister Oyibo Chukwu. The incident happened around Ekotu Amechi Akunano in Enugu South local government area, Enugu State, late Wednesday. In videos that surfaced online, the bus, which the candidate uses for his campaign, was set ablaze with people in it burnt beyond recognition. It is not yet clear whether the candidate was among the victims. In the same area, hoodlums also attacked the campaign bus of the House of Representatives candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for Enugu North and South Federal Constituency, Honorable Ofo Chukwuegbo, killing the driver and burning him together with the vehicle. It is not clear whether he was the only person in the vehicle as of press time. The State Police Command has yet to make an official statement regarding the incidents. Moving to Anambra State, the Nigeria Police Command in Anambra State said it had ordered an investigation into unraveling the circumstances surrounding the alleged discovery of a bag full of permanent voter cards belonging to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. A hunter was said to have found a bag containing the PVC in a forest in Nnewi on Tuesday and later took it to the premises of a popular radio station, Authority FM. A video of the PVCs, which was made in the compound of the radio house in Nnewi and has been trending online, showed that most of the PVCs belong to the people from the Nnewi South local government area. But reacting to the development, the state police spokesperson, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, said though the command had not received any formal complaint, the Commissioner of Police, Echeng, has ordered investigations into the video to unravel the circumstances surrounding the incident and possibly arrest the suspects behind the act. Less than 3 days to the presidential election, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the restriction of vehicular movement across Nigeria ahead of the 2023 general elections. The force spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi made this known in a statement stating that the IGP ordered the restriction of all forms of vehicular movement on roads, waterways, and other forms of transportation from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day, with the exception of those on essential services. He explained that the move became necessary so as to ensure a secure environment for the 2023 elections and the management of law and order. The IGP also restricted security aids and escorts from accompanying polling booths and collation centers during the elections. The police warned that anyone found flouting the directive will be severely sanctioned, stating that only security personnel specifically assigned to election duties are to be seen within and around the designated election booths and centers. Still on the 2023 polls, President Muhammadu Buhari met with security chiefs yesterday ahead of the Saturday presidential election. The National Security Council, comprising the National Security Advisor, Ministers of Defense and Interior, heads of all security agencies in the country, including the Army, Navy, Air Force and Police, met to review ongoing arrangements that have been adopted to ensure hitch-free nationwide elections on Saturday. The Security Council meeting was preceded by the launch of security equipment donated by the Coalition Against COVID-19 at the Council's chamber, Abuja. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on candidates of political parties to accept the outcome of the 2023 general elections. Nigerians will go to the poll on Saturday, February 25th, to choose a new president and members of the National Assembly. Thereafter, the governorship and State House of Assembly polls will hold on March 11th. President Buhari made the call while witnessing the signing of the second peace accord for the 2023 presidential elections at the International Conference Center in Abuja. He stated that any aggrieved candidate should resort to the established judicial processes and must have the confidence to trust the legal systems. President Buhari asked the candidates to abide by the spirit and letter of the accord they have signed yesterday.
Sure, INEC, the security agencies, and all relevant institutions saddled with the responsibility of conducting the elections of this administration continuous support. I ask you to be firm and courageous and to abide by the laws and the constitutional provisions in conducting the elections. That this is the only country we have, and we must do everything to keep it safe, united, and peaceful. All grievances, personal or institutional, should be channeled to the relevant courts.
Here in Osun, the state government has approved Friday, 24th of February as a public holiday for residents and indigents to travel for the presidential and National Assembly elections on Saturday. In a circular issued to the journalists by the secretary to the state government, Taslim Igbalaye stated that public servants are expected to utilize the opportunity to travel to their various villages to exercise their franchise. He noted that the governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, urged residents to maintain law and order before, during, and after the general elections. As Nigerians continue to struggle over the ongoing Naira crisis, the situation appears to be worse in rural communities where there is little or no access to bank facilities. Toby Sanusi examines the impact the cash crunch is having on rural dwellers in some communities in Osun State, and now reports.
Shops closed down, businesses halted, children out of school. These are some of the realities in many rural settlements as a result of the current struggle for cash, which has skyrocketed to battle for survival. Children who have been out of school due to the cash crunch, playing groups as Western Spring Television drives through some suburb communities like Egbedi, Ara, Agudo, Lemo, Pumpula, and Ilesong in Osun State, where the absence of commercial banks and point-of-sales agents was conspicuously noticed. Even with their low population, trade, farming, and palm oil production are prominent in most of these areas. However, business has not been the same for Muideen Olaya and Olong Dari for Lashade, who now share farm produce among fellow rural dwellers to feed as their businesses crumble right in front of them.
Challenges that face nípa scarcity of naira note yìí ó le gan tí ìsìtàwàdà. Most especially gbogbo àwa tá wà ní rural area báyìí tá ní access sí láti lọ sí bank. Méyàn bá lọ sí bank gan àti ẹ̀rọ gbàrà rárá. Ó wá tiẹ̀ wá ti wá sọ business wa ó ti dorí rẹ̀ kodò pátápátá tí ò jẹ́ ká rí ọjà tà. Tẹ́ bá gbogbo àwọn tó ń tà tẹ gbogbo àwọn tó ń ṣe bí wẹ́dà ẹgbẹ́ kò ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ò ní sẹ́sẹ́ ó dàkú ti fi ṣọ́ọ̀bù sílẹ̀ wọ́n ti ṣeré lọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ti di ọlọ́kadà káàkiri lónìí kọ́lọ́n kó yọ wá nírú àsìkò yìí. Bí àwọn èèyàn ṣe ń jẹun ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó ń dáko irú àdúgbò wa nísìn àgbẹ̀ ló pọ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹlòmíì irú nísìn irú èmi báyìí mò ń dáko mò ń dẹ́ni ṣiṣẹ́ wọ́n tàjọ jẹ́ ará àdúgbò wọ́n wá ń bí kán alágbáyé ọmọ bòmí láṣìírí mọ̀ ni àmọ́ ní nǹkan ìjẹ́ látijọ́ yìí ní táwọn náà bá nínú ilé láti pín sí méjì láti dọ́gbọ́n sí ẹ̀rọ tó bá wọlé nísìn mo ṣe tó kó dé nísìn mo lọ wàásù mẹ́la tí ń wò pé bọ́lá ṣe pín sí àwọn tí ń wò láǹfààní àti ṣẹ́gẹ́bẹ̀ yẹn pípa ọgbọ́n tàṣà ń dá sí ni.
àrí pos ló àròwó gbà oúnjẹ là ń tà àròwó fi sóúnjẹ àwọn transfer tí wọ́n ṣe fún wa àrígbà àti jẹ àti múnú ilé gan-an ó di ọlọ́mọfara ni wà ní àròúnjẹ jẹ àròwó gbà owó ń bẹ ń báǹkì kò ṣàǹfààní fún wa à ń wo owó wa báyìí àrígbà ẹ̀ẹ̀kan ló kù báyìí ẹ̀ẹ̀kan gan àánú Ọlọ́run ni lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn gan báyìí àánú Ọlọ́run ni là ń fi rí jẹ àárí jẹ kò sóyún kò sí ní tá a fẹ́ fi jẹ kò sówó tá a fẹ́ mú lọ jà lọ fi ra nǹkan tá a fẹ́ jẹ kò sí nǹkan kan tẹ bá dénú pọ́ọ̀sì mi báyìí 5 naira lọ́wọ́ àná 50 naira lọ́wọ́ àná pọ́ọ̀sì mi ó ní.
While internet banking would suffice in most urban areas, many rural dwellers cannot carry out bank transactions via their mobile phones owing to poor network. As a result, these rural residents travel to nearby towns to queue in banks for cash, an effort that proves futile eventually, according to Jimo Abidin, Olaiwola Fiz and Rachel Ojelade, who say the few POS agents around them with cash charge exorbitantly.
Látijọ́ tí èmi ti dé ilé ayé ó dàbí irú eléyìí kò wáyé rí àtijẹ àti mú ó le koko gan débi pé kò yí sí àti lọ àti máa bọ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ wa tí ń lọ léèwé kò yí sí gbogbo ẹ̀ ó le koko kò sí báǹkì bíbá yìí ó bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni kò sí POS tí a bá fẹ́ lọ báǹkì lálọ pé ká lọ kábọ̀ lásán á ná 800 naira àlọ 400 naira àbọ̀ náà 400 naira àwa lè dé báǹkì ọ̀hún ká débẹ̀ látàárọ̀ kùtùkùtù ká tó ńgbà tí wọ́n bá di bí aago 12 wọ́n sọ pé kò sówó ńlẹ̀ ẹ máa lọlé owó tá à ń rí náà wọn POS là ti ń gbà tá a bá lọ sí Ẹdẹ tá a bá sì fún wa ní 10,000 naira wọ́n yọ 8,000 wọ́n fún wa tí a bá fẹ́ gba 10,000 naira wọ́n yọ 2,000 naira ní charges sí tiwọn so wọ́n fún wa ní 8,000 naira.
sẹ́rẹ̀ gbogbo nǹkan tó wà ní Nàìjíríà yóò rí sú wa gan Ọlọ́run àmọ́ nǹkan tá a lè ṣe sí gbogbo àwọn POS yìí ó rí sú wa Ọlọ́run àwọn ní POS nílùú tá a wà yìí ifo gan nǹkan tá a rí gan tó ń ṣe POS gan no cash ni kò sí káàṣì fún wọn lọ́dọ̀ tiẹ̀ akànbí àwọn ìjọba mọ́ àti pé ni wọ́n bá wá solution ṣe sí ni Ọlọ́run gbogbo àwọn mọ́ta ní school everybody rú àwọn èmi sí bímọ kan tó sì lọ sí school oyè àti sanwó school gan ní ìsìn máa ti lè lọ lé báyìí.
Adélé ìfowópamọ́ àròwó gbà àti rí oúnjẹ rà ó di nǹkan àwọn míì olóúnjẹ tí ń ta ń jẹun aláwọn ọgbà transfer o mọ̀mọ́ gàdí tá a bá so máa ní ẹ mọ́ so mọ́ mi àwọn ọgbà transfer àwọn ò ní fi owó ra ẹ̀gẹ́ àwọn ó ṣàfowó rẹ̀ gẹ̀ ẹ̀yìn bá a dé ọ̀dọ̀ ráìsì mi àní àwọn ò rí transfer gbà ó tiẹ̀ wà jẹ́ wípé ẹlòmíì ti pa bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ń so ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ nù ẹni tó ń síìkì tó lọ ilé ìwòsàn tọkọ ń súrí owó kóhun ó rí bí gbowó tí òròwó gbà ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ kọjá lọ.
Going forward, many rural dwellers share the submission of Mr. Jimo, who emphasized the need for commercial banks in unbanked communities.
A rọ àwọn ìjọba náà pé tí wọ́n bá lè bá gbé àwọn báǹkì wá sí ẹsẹ̀ kùkù báyìí yóò rọ̀ wá lọ́rùn ju bó ṣe wà tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ.
As the day goes by, the hardship faced by Nigerians rather than being suppressed continues to aggravate amidst economic downturn. Toby Sanusi reporting for Western Spring Television.
The Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, has alleged that the Naira redesign and swap policy was targeted at truncating Saturday's presidential election and National Assembly elections. He added that the policy was also targeted at the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, to ensure he lost the election. The governor stated this at the state broadcast aired on electronic media outlets in the state this morning, barely 48 hours to the election. According to him, the cash swap policy of the APC-led government and the alleged artificial scarcity of fuel are both lethal injections deliberately administered to demarket the APC government and create an uncontrollable crisis in the nation. He said the goal is to truncate the election and also an attempt to abuse the principle of the rotational presidency by denying a section of the country its legitimate right. The Supreme Court of Nigeria yesterday fixed March 3rd for a judgment in a suit instituted by Attorneys General of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara states, challenging the Naira redesign policy of the federal government. Other states joined in suit by the Supreme Court upon their request include the Attorneys General of Katsina, Lagos, Cross River, Ogun, Ekiti, Ondo, and Sokoto. 6 other states that subsequently filed various suits against the federal government's demonetization policy and whose cases were consolidated are Rivers, Kano, Niger, Nasarawa, Jigawa, and Abia. It should be recalled that the Supreme Court, in a unanimous ruling on Friday 6th, granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, CBN, and commercial banks from implementing the February 10th deadline for the old 200 Naira, 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes to stop being legal tenders. You're still watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
Aminatu, the legendary queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Moving on, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it is not eager to make arrests of suspected cash hoarders despite the scarcity of the new 200 naira, 500 naira and 1,000 naira banknotes across the country. The chairman of Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, disclosed this during a news chart stating that some businessmen with questionable character still have the funds out there. As said throughout the exercise from October 2022 to date, the Commission has not arrested anybody or raised any question regarding who deposited what, where, and how, because it does not want to cause too much panic within the system. According to Mr. Bawa, the new currency is easier to track using the serial numbers on the banknotes as well as the locations to which they have been distributed across the country. He further stated that the anti-graft agency has an added responsibility in its eventual recovery of all funds which are allegedly being used for vote buying. Elsewhere, the Kogi state government has faulted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for reportedly confiscating 14 of its properties in Lagos State, Abuja, and the United Arab Emirates following an order from the court. In a statement yesterday, Kingsley Fonwo, the State Commissioner of Information and Communications to Governor Yahya Bello, said the state government has no property that can be forfeited to the federal government under any guise. Mr. Fonwo further noted that it was clear that the EFCC had declared a tactless open war against the state government, owing mainly to Governor Bello's unflinching loyalty to the All Progressives Congress. It would be recalled a federal high court sitting in Lagos State yesterday ordered the forfeiture of 14 properties in Lagos, Abuja, and the United Arab Emirates linked to the Kogi state government. Outside Nigeria, a TV reporter and a 9-year-old girl have been fatally shot near Orlando, Florida, close to the scene of a murder that took place hours earlier. A second reporter and the girl's mother were shot and injured by the same gunman, who is also suspected of the other homicide. Police revealed that the two journalists were covering the killing of a woman in the area that morning when the teenage suspect returned. It is unclear if they were targeted. Investigators said the suspect, 19-year-old Keith Moses, was armed when he was arrested and was not cooperating with police. None of the 3 people killed in yesterday's attacks in the suburb west of Orlando have yet been identified. In a news conference, Orange County Sheriff John Mena said the journalists were in or near the vehicle which he said did not look like a TV station's official vehicle when they were attacked.
This morning at 11 a.m., deputies responded to the 6100 block of Hialeah Street in reference to a shooting. Once there, they found a woman who was in her 20s who was shot and succumbed to her injuries. Our homicide detectives responded to that scene, conducted follow-up, collected evidence, and developed good leads on the suspect in that case this morning. At 4:05, we received 911 calls about another shooting at that location and a shooting nearby. On Hialeah Street, deputies located 2 men who had been shot in or near a vehicle. They are a News 13 reporter and photographer who were on the scene to cover the homicide from this morning. On Harrington Street, a woman and her 9-year-old girl were also shot inside of a home. It is unclear why the suspect entered that home. The victims were transported to nearby hospitals, and tragically, one of the News 13 employees has passed.
In Africa, the military government in Burkina Faso is preparing to rebury the remains of former President Thomas Sankara today, even after his family said they would not attend. The private ceremony would be held at the spot where Sankara was gunned down along 12 others in a military coup in October 1987. His family said they would not attend because they were not satisfied with the site. But the government said the choice was guided by socio-cultural and security imperatives of national interest. Sankara remains a hero for many across Africa because of his anti-imperialist stance and somber lifestyle. The government says his burial will be done according to customary and religious funeral rites. Sankara rose to power in 1983 and was killed 4 years later at the age of 37 in a coup led by his close friend, Blaise Compaoré. United States head Antonio Guterres has condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine as an affront to the world's collective conscience at a meeting of the General Assembly nearly 1 year on. The meeting was debating a motion backed by Ukraine and its allies demanding Russia pull out immediately and unconditionally. Ukraine hopes that by supporting the merchant countries will show solidarity. The Kremlin has accused the West of wanting to defeat Russia at any cost. The Kremlin's ambassador to UN, Vasily Nembezia, said the US and its allies were prepared to plunge the entire world into war. It will be recalled Russia President Vladimir Putin sent up to 200,000 soldiers into Ukraine on February 24, 2022, and the biggest European invasion since the end of World War II.
The UN Charter is unambiguous, and I quote, "All members shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state or in any other manner inconsistent with the purposes of the United Nations." Mr. President, Excellencies, the General Assembly has addressed in the clearest terms the attempt by the Russian Federation to illegally annex 4 regions of Ukraine: Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Luhansk. In doing so, the Assembly reaffirmed the long-standing principles of international law contained in its landmark Friendly Relations Declaration of 1970. Namely that, and I quote, "The territory of a state shall not be the object of acquisition by another state resulting from the threat or use of force."
Now to some sports stories. Andy Murray continued his eventful start of the season with a notable win over Germany's Alexander Zverev to put him into the Qatar Open quarterfinals. Britain's Murray dug deep into his physical and mental reserves yet again to win 7-6, 7-5, 2-6, 7-5 after an absorbing 3-hour match in Doha. French qualifier Alexander Müller ranked 170th, awaits Murray next. It was another gutsy win from Murray in a year where all of his 4 wins have come in dramatic circumstances. At the Australian Open, he survived a match point to beat Italian 13th seed Matteo Berrettini in the first round and then fought back from 2 sets down to win at 4 a.m. against Thanasi Kokinakis in his next match. On Monday, he saved 3 match points before winning a final set tie break to beat Italy's Lorenzo Senegal in Doha. Now, before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. At least 5 persons have been feared dead as gunmen attacked the Sienna bus belonging to the Labour Party candidate for Enugu East Senatorial District, Barrister Oyibo Chukwu. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the restriction of vehicular movements across Nigeria ahead of the 2023 general elections. On the foreign scene, a TV reporter and a 9-year-old girl have been fatally shot near Orlando, Florida, close to the scene of a murder that took place hours earlier. Remember to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Evelyn Ohiole. Many thanks for your time.